Hello and welcome to Take Me Home, the podcast offering a social democratic alternative for the politically homeless. My name is Sebastian.Moore.
And I'm Hilary.salt.
And we've just done a take and we realised we had the setup all wrong, so we're going to go again.
Yeah.
And we're just starting to talk about Makerfield.
Yeah.
The by-election that's happening at the moment. You said you haven't been paying too much attention to it.
No. But there's been some polling out, hasn't there?
Yeah, so the polling that I saw, and I don't think this is a brilliant, this is a massively accurate way of telling who people are going to vote for, but it gives us some indication. And the polling I saw was that Labour, Andy Burnham, was on 43%, Reform on 40%, and then in third place, quite interestingly, Restore on 7%. Restore Britain, that party of Rupert Lowe's that we've talked about before on the podcast.
Yeah.
This has angered a lot of people in Reform, and a lot of the media are saying that Restore are potentially going to win this election for Andy Burnham. I really dislike this argument because I think, well, if you're in Reform, if you're campaigning for Reform and you're making that argument, I'd say, well, just do a better job and win those people over.
Yeah.
Because people aren't stupid. They know that. If there's 7% of people that are voting Restore know that potentially Andy Burnham could get in, they're willing to do that. Why are they willing to do that? You know, why has your movement not managed to win them over so far? That's the question you should be asking yourself. But slightly more interestingly is that on the day of recording, there's going to be a BBC Question Time debate with 5 parties.
It's at Winstanley College, isn't it?
Is that right?
Yeah, which is where my sister used to work.
Very good.
And where we've done debating matters competitions there.
Right.
They've had a very good team, Winstanley College, in the past.
Very good. The local links.
Yeah.
So 5 parties have been invited. Reform, Labour, the Tories, the Lib Dems and the Greens. So 3 parties that are polling below Restore have been invited.
In the polling below Restore in that constituency.
Yes, exactly, yeah. And I think this is shocking because I understand that the difficulty, there are 14 candidates in this by-election, the difficulty of can we interview and can we put a debate on with all of them? I think as a real fundamentalist Democrat, you should. You know, those are the 14 that are entering. You should put it on. And I'd love to see, you know, this is the potential of where we could go with our politics. You could have like a semi-finals and a final debate.
Wow.
Right? Have 7 in each and allow people to vote for the people they want to see in. And if someone's brilliant on the debate stage, they might get voted onto that, you know, that final. That's just a random thought I had literally in this second. But I wanted to say that I feel sympathy for Restore, a party with whom I disagree with on so many things. But I think it's really unfair considering that they have done an amazing job to be polling on 7%. As a party that is 3-4 months old, and for them to be just blocked from actually having their voice heard, and 7% of the public in Makerfield, the voting public, want to vote for them. That suggests that there is enough interest for the constituents of Makerfield to actually hear what they have to say. Yeah. So I think that's really, really annoying, and it's sort of typical of the BBC, and it's kind of where our politics has gone, that the BBC have this idea of, we can only invite people that have got an MP or have done well at the last election. Well, what happens is that means you only get the parties that have done well previously, and if we're not happy with the parties, as so many people are, it doesn't allow new parties, particularly like ours, the SDP, and parties like Restore to actually get a foothold, and why it's so important, I think, for new parties to create their own media ecosystem.
Yes, yeah. Probably a good challenge for the people of Makerfield to organise some hustings and get to hear from all the candidates.
Yeah, exactly. That's an interesting thing, I think, being involved in politics. I didn't realise that hustings were just organised locally by voters.
Absolutely.
There's no mechanism for that. It is literally just people saying, we're going to hold a hustings, would you come?
Yeah
And it's been brilliant, the ones we've done where we've been invited.
Yes.
And I'm really grateful to the people that have taken the time to put those on, because it's given the voters a chance to hear from the candidates in a room, which is there's no alternative for that in my book.
Exactly, yeah. And you get to see the proper whites of their eyes
Right.
in the real world, don't you? In a crowded meeting room or a church hall or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I people of Makerfield, organise some hustings, I would say. Show the BBC how it's done.
Exactly. Okay, today we're going to do a bit of a shorter episode than last time.
Yeah, football-tastic episode.
Yeah, we're going to have a bit of a World Cup theme, because we are currently a week away from the first game of the World Cup. Do you know what?
Yes.
Do you know what the first game is?
Oh, I don't know actually.
It's
No.
Incredibly, I'm 30 years old, so I haven't got a massive wealth of experience when it comes to World Cups. My first one was 2002. First one I can really remember. But incredibly, it's my favourite first game of any World Cup. 2010 World Cup in South Africa was South Africa were at home to Mexico. And it's a repeat of that. We've got Mexico-South Africa because it's being hosted in Mexico.
Okay.
So it's a weird sort of like little quirk of footballing history that's going to be repeated. In that game, I remember rushing home from school, turning the TV on, and it was 0-0. And Shabalala was running down the pitch, the South African forward, and smashed it into the top corner. And I remember the commentator saying, Shabalala, and like screaming. And it was so, for me, it's like the World Cup, sometimes it takes a while to get into it. You need a couple of games. But that game, I was just like, right, I'm in. And I loved that World Cup. So I'm hoping for an exciting opener next week.
So they're kind of late evening, aren't they, here? It'll be late evening here when they kick off, like 9 o'clock, I think. Time.
Yeah, so the tournament's being hosted in Canada, US and Mexico.
Yep.
Little side note, I'm a big fan of solo countries hosting. And I get that some countries don't have the infrastructure to host on their own, but I love that. Like the South Africa had a culture to it.
Yeah.
Brazil in 2014. I don't like this business of multiple countries hosting together.
No. It's like a multi-centre holiday, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly right.
You never quite settle down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But most of the games will be in America, in the US, and because of they're happening in the Western Hemisphere, it does mean they'll be later for us in Europe. Interestingly, England have done quite well with they're in Group L, and they've got fairly good kickoff times. So we're at 9 and 10 p.m. Whereas Scotland are much later, like 11 and 2, I think.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Scotland fans not so happy.
No. But they're happy to qualify, though.
That's true, yeah.
And Wales and Northern Ireland only just missed out as well, didn't they?
Exactly,
Could have been all 4, but not to be. 48 teams, though, this year.
Yes.
So, expanded.
Yes, I'm also not very happy about that.
Are you not? Okay.
I'm realising like I'm a grumpy old man. I'm a purist when it comes to 32 teams in the World Cup, 16 teams in the Euros, because it's multiples of 4.
Yeah.
So it works. Or no, multiples of. It's not that, is it? It's doubles. I don't know how to.
Yeah.
What the mathematical term for that would be.
Yeah.
Where you can. Whereas this, what happens is first and second will get through from the groups, and then the top 8 third place teams out of the 12 groups. So out of the 48 teams, 32 of them are going to go to the last 32.
Okay.
So there's an extra game.
So that's like the normal World Cup starts there.
Exactly,
almost,
and then we'll be knockout from there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an extra game, so I'm not complaining about that too much. But yeah, 48 teams in it.
Okay.
Who's your favourite? Who you picking?
To win?
Yeah.
Or who do I want to win?
Well, I hope you want England to win.
I do.
I'm not going to ask you.
Okay.
Who do you think will win?
Spain, maybe.
Yeah, I think Spain's a good shout. Yeah. I've realised I've forgotten my prop. It's over there. You see my World Cup bunting that I've ordered.
Ah, well done.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
I should have pulled it out.
Yeah.
But there's some interesting countries that have qualified this time.
It's odd though, because sometimes there's a bit more of a home advantage, isn't there? So you'd think that maybe somebody from that side of the world might have a better chance, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I did look at Bet365.
Okay, who's
all the betting stations are
who are
available.
the favourites?
They had France and Spain.
France and Spain make
joint
sense.
favourites. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's going to be. I think it's a really interesting year in terms of there are a lot of teams that can compete, and a lot of teams that I think will be interesting. Like Netherlands, for example, I think are, like that they'll be a really good team to watch. They're always my second international team.
Okay.
So I've got some family in the Netherlands, and I love the Netherlands. brilliant kit,
Yes.
bright orange.
Yeah.
So they'd be my sort of my dark horse, maybe, if you can call them that.
Yeah. You're not putting money on Scotland?
No.
Okay.
No, probably not.
Obviously, as United fans, will be watching Tyler Fletcher, Darren Fletcher's lad, who's in the Scottish team.
Yeah, I think he was called up because Scottish player dropped out. Who was it that dropped out?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Got injured.
Yeah.
Big player. Who was it? Billy Gilmore, I think. Yeah.
So that's an interest for us.
Okay.
I have to confess, I don't know huge amounts about the Scottish team other than that. What do you think about the England manager not being English?
Again, bit of a purist. I think it has to be an English manager. I've always thought it's weird how international football, you have the players have to be the nationality of that country, then the manager is a completely different nationality. I remember growing up with Sven Göran Eriksson and thinking, this is a bit strange. Why is he not English? And I don't know why we've got so many good English managers. I mean, Eddie Howe would be an obvious one.
Yeah.
I met Eddie Howe because when he was Bournemouth manager, I used to do. We used to travel over there as part of my sport course at school, and I like Eddie Howe a lot. So I don't know why we went for a foreign manager, but listen, if Thomas Tuchel wins the World Cup for England, he's English in my book.
Yeah. I wonder if he's done that. That test they have to do to become an English citizen.
Right, life in the UK.
Yeah, they should really make him do that, shouldn't they?
They should, shouldn't they?
At least.
Yeah, explain to us what the Glorious Revolution was all about.
Yeah. How many football pitches make up Wales?
Yeah.
Yes, so we're looking forward to it, obviously.
Yeah, very much so, yeah.
I think we mentioned before we started recording that there were free World Cup wall charts with some of the newspapers this weekend.
Oh, yes.
So don't forget to buy your
indeed.
preferred
And as we
newspaper.
move away from paper and onto screens, I think the last couple of World Cups I've not had a wall chart, which is just criminal. But I'm intending to have one this year.
Great. So there's some controversies.
There are, and I just wanted to touch on a couple. So, firstly, the boycotting. I didn't ask you if you're going to boycott the World Cup.
I'm not.
I think Alistair Campbell might be boycotting it.
Oh, well, I don't think anybody will miss him.
I think his version of boycotting was that he's not going to travel there and watch a game, which I think...
Well, I'm not going to travel there and watch a game either, to be fair.
Most of the world can't justify it because it's incredibly expensive, which we'll get onto. I've invited a few friends to watch the first game, and one of my friends texted me and said, "Oh, no, I'm boycotting this year." And I thought, what? And I think his reason was that FIFA are corrupt, but a lot of people will be boycotting or vocalising that they will be boycotting because of Donald Trump and because of Iran. I don't know. What's your view on boycotts just in general? Because...
I don't like them. I don't think they really do change anything. I think it's just a bit of a virtue signalling thing. I mean, there's still a view, I think, amongst a lot of liberals in the West that they brought down the South African apartheid regime by not buying oranges, when actually it was the working people and the ordinary people of South Africa who brought down that regime. Mm-hmm. So, no, I'm not one for boycotting, really.
Okay. If you are boycotting the World Cup, of course, do let us know and tell us your reasons why and see if perhaps you can convince us we're wrong. But then I wanted to get onto more just the some of the problems around we might call the accessibility of the World Cup.
Okay.
Because I'm a big believer that we should allow as many people to be able to access it and to watch a game as possible. And you'd think with a 48 team World Cup with far, far more games, you would be able to create a World Cup that was more inclusive, truly inclusive, not just using that word in its sort of modern meaning. But the tickets are extortionate, as a lot of people have already talked about. Now, the group game tickets... I think the very cheapest that you could find is about $120, but mostly the group game tickets are between $400 and $600.
Per person?
Yes, per person. And in Qatar, that was this is sort of like the top standard price, I suppose. Like, so the very sort of standard, not, no fancy seats or anything. In Qatar, that was about $200. So it's a lot more than Qatar. And of course, Qatar was talked about as being quite an expensive World Cup to attend, particularly with flights and accommodation, of course. And then the final, that goes up to $6,000.
Oh.
It's really quite incredible. Now, interestingly, in the political lens, and obviously it's a political podcast, so we would see this side of it. There has been some pushback from FIFA towards America, towards the US. I guess it's the US footballing governing body that organises it, about ticket pricing. And even more interestingly, Zoran Mamdani has been really campaigning on this. And this is part of like what we can see maybe with the trend of the populist left. And it is popular to be campaigning and pushing back on some of these things. So he's one. I think this is him. I'm pretty sure I saw that he had lobbied to have cheaper tickets, and they've agreed to release a certain number. I think maybe 1,000 tickets at $50, and that's for lower income people in New York to go and watch a game at the ones that are in. I was going to say in New York, technically in New Jersey, but the closest stadium to New York City.
And are the ticket prices as high in Mexico and Canada, or is it just America?
The US has the highest.
Right.
I'm not sure what the prices are in Mexico and Canada, but I know the US ones are extortionate. But the thing that I wanted to really draw people's attention to, though, is this sort of online argument about MetLife Stadium. So the MetLife Stadium is in New Jersey.
Okay.
But it's billed as being New York. So you'll quite often see the venue for a game on the World Cup wall charts. It will say New York. So the final is in New York, and it's not. It's technically in New Jersey,
which is just over the water, isn't it? It's just
over the water, but it's actually a long way.
Okay.
I was in New York last autumn, if you remember, and so I had a bit of a sort of it gives you an idea of the scale. I remember walking through Manhattan. I only walked. I walked from Brooklyn into Manhattan and then up to Central Park, and it took me about the whole day. It was remarkable how far it is. I just don't think I've got an idea of the scale of the place. I wanted to show you a picture of MetLife Stadium and compared, and I'll put this up on the video for those that are watching the podcast. This top image is MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, and the bottom one is Camp Nou in Barcelona. I lived very close to the stadium in Barcelona. And what you'll notice is the number of homes around the stadium.
In Barcelona.
And how little parking there is compared to the MetLife Stadium.
The MetLife Stadium being just surrounded by car parks.
Just surrounded by car parks. Because some of the dialogue around this, particularly online, has been a case of the Europeans, let's say, getting upset with how far they would have to travel to one of these games. And Americans saying, well, of course the stadium can't be near the city because look how much space it takes up. And the Europeans pointing out that you wouldn't have to take up so much space if it was closer to the city because more people could walk and get public transport. And I think this is a really good example of a dividing line, not between the two sort of sides of politics, but between Americanisms and Europeanisms when it comes to the way we design our cities. And I actually think that there is a lot more that unites people, Europeans, on the right and left, and I'm including us in this as Europeans, than and then a lot more that unites Americans on the right and left. And it's been really interesting seeing that. Americans pushing back both on both sides of the spectrum. The Europeans have been saying things like, we could walk there. Why don't we just walk to the stadium? And Americans saying, no, you cannot. You can't do it. And I saw a YouTube video of a guy that runs there. He says, right, I'm going to run to the stadium. I think it takes him 3 hours to run there. So there is a train that goes from Penn Station in Manhattan. That train ticket, they've had to decrease the price off after there's been a bit of outrage about it. The ticket was $150 from Penn Station to the stadium, and they've had to slash the ticket price to $98.
And did you say that that's not what the ticket price was like 2 weeks ago?
No, the normal price is $12.90.
Oh,
So that would be an example of price gouging.
that is price gouging on a mega scale.
And interestingly, the public transport for the Qatar World Cup and for Russia in 2018 was free.
Yeah.
And when America put their bid in, and I'm saying America, I know some people have a problem with that, the USA, but
Yeah.
it's shorthand for the USA. When they put the bid in as part of this joint bid, they pledged to have free public transport. And then in 2023, they reneged on that.
Poof. Same old Americans always cheating. That feels like a chant. We need to start off.
Our American listenership has just died today. So a few things have been shared online. This is a very online story. I know it's not good to be just chronically online, but I found this quite an interesting dialogue that's happening on the internet. Someone shared an image that I'll flash up for anybody watching of a sign on the exit of a hotel in I don't know where it is exactly. I think New Jersey somewhere. Saying hotel guests attending events at MetLife Stadium cannot walk to the stadium and cannot walk back to the hotel from the stadium. It is illegal and dangerous to walk on the roadways surrounding the stadium. Please make the proper transportation arrangements. Thank you.
So there's no pavement, sidewalk.
Exactly. And
So
I've heard this anecdotally from friends that have visited family in America, and they've said to them, I'm just nipping out to the shop. And they say, well, what do you think you're doing? I say, can I walk? And they say, no, you cannot walk. And I had this experience. I went to see a college football game that was just an amazing experience. I loved it. LSU, which is Louisiana State University in Baton Rouge. And I was staying just over the river. And I looked up, I walked from the stadium. I was walking back into the town. And I went a couple of miles walking. And I thought, it's not far to go now. And it was a 6-minute drive on Google Maps.
Okay.
But walking wouldn't let you walk on Google Maps. So I'm thinking, this is a 6-minute drive, that's walkable. And I tried to get up onto the bridge and the police were there. And I said, can I not walk over the bridge? And they said, no. And they were shocked that I was asking them. You could tell they'd not been asked that before. It was like a sort of big motorway bridge.
Yeah.
And I thought, there's no footpath. And that's just that if a bridge had been built in Europe, there would be a footpath and
Absolutely.
there'd be a way of pedestrian access.
Yeah.
And so I had to order an Uber. And it cost me $25 to get that 6-minute drive across the river. And yeah, it speaks. It really goes against my spirit, my instincts for how we should be living and how we should be allowing people to travel how they wish and make it easier for them.
Yes.
And, I think that is especially true for rail and for pedestrians and for cyclists, because so often those things can become infringed with a country that is very car dependent, like America is.
Yeah. And it's in the UK, it's almost the opposite, isn't it? So in Trafford, we have this thing, I think it's called active cities, where they're trying to make you walk all the time. They want you to walk rather than use the car, but even rather than use public transport, they want people to walk places. And I mean, to some extent, I think exactly the same. It's none of their business. They should just give us the choices and then let us decide. But certainly banning walking feels like the wrong approach. The other thing on ticket prices was I saw an article that apparently they'd not sold a lot of tickets and they were now selling them through third-party discounting sites. Serves them right, I suppose, in some ways.
So I think this is something that, for me, when we talk about freedom within politics, we're often talking about, our civil liberties, our freedom of expression, our freedom of association. And I think the height of freedom is being able to leave your house and go where you want on foot, because it requires nothing. It's just as all of us are born, and when we're stopped from doing that, that feels like an infringement on my freedoms. And what's really interesting in America and seems counterintuitive is that for a country that is so obsessed with freedom in many ways, there are so many things which I think make you incredibly unfree.
Yes.
And the ability to cross a road without going across the traffic lights. I can believe that. And I was really aware of it. And it just feels so silly when you can just cross. There's no cars. You've got a space, but you're not allowed. And if a police officer sees you, they'll fine you for jaywalking.
Yeah.
And that's not over the whole country, but cities like New York. And I don't want to go down that route. And I know that like the culturally, if we're in Britain, we are poised kind of in between Europe and America. I know culturally, I will take Europe every single day of the week.
Definitely, yeah.
There was just one other thing was that this I found this TikTok. It's like Jeremy Clarkson on Top Gear, isn't it? It's like I've been online this week and I found this, but I found this TikTok of a lady with quite a big following, suggesting that it is Europeans thinking they can walk to MetLife Stadium is an example of white supremacy.
Oh gosh.
And I would play it, but I think we'd lose a few brain cells. But the argument is that it shows their supremacist way of thinking, Europeans, that they think they can do things, and Americans are telling them no, they can't because you're not allowed. And I just think, well, watch us.
Yeah. Well, sadly, we won't get the chance to defy that requirement because we won't be there, will we?
That's true.
But we will be watching.
We'll be watching, yes.
And for many people, the place that they'll be watching will be...
Will be where?
The pub.
The pub. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, this is a segue into yours.
It is.
I apologise.
Yeah.
I'm caught up in the World Cup.
I'm conscious we said it would be a short episode, so I'm
I
trying
know.
to stop you going down your TikTok rabbit hole, that's all.
I promised to make it a short episode and then I just rambled for ages. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
But you can't start me talking about the World Cup and expect me to be quick.
So, because a lot of people, I think, will be watching the World Cup down the pub, and I think what's quite interesting these days is that I've noticed in a few pubs now there's lots more outdoor tellies. I don't know whether that's some kind of technical thing that's changed.
Yeah, I think it is an advance in the technology.
Yeah, but that's quite good, isn't it? Presumably, if it's sunny, it'd be nice to watch from outside. But the issue for many pubs is, of course, that they are struggling. So one good reason to go and watch the World Cup down the pub rather than go to America is that you will be supporting your local pub. I don't know if you noticed there was quite a bit of coverage in the press about Prince of Wales went to his pub in Peckham recently. And he said, I thought it was very weird. He said, oh, I grew up in pubs.
Yeah.
I thought, no, you didn't. You grew up in palaces. What's that about?
I've just made a connection. That pub, was it the Prince of Peckham?
Yes, I think it is, yeah.
I was in that pub 6 months ago.
Wow, well done.
When I read the article, I hadn't connected the two, but yeah, okay.
Yeah. So lots of pubs are struggling. Do you want to play business challenges bingo?
Yes.
So,
oh no,
what are all the things that are causing businesses to struggle and that might apply to pubs?
This is like hustings all over again when you get put on the spot. National insurance.
Correct. National insurance, increase in national insurance contributions.
Minimum wage increase.
Minimum wage increase, yeah.
Is there a tax on alcohol?
Yes.
Alcohol tax?
Correct, yeah. Yeah. Which actually hasn't gone up that much, but it is, it is one of the challenges for pubs.
Energy bills.
Energy bills, yes, well done. Particularly because, I don't know what your local pub is, but lots of pubs are relatively old buildings. Probably take quite a bit to heat. Yeah. But obviously, the cost of energy, cost of fuel obviously affects all your inputs as well because people have to bring stuff to you. So, in general inflation because of energy prices. Yeah, anything else?
I can't think of anything else.
Okay, so there's some things that perhaps a bit more relevant for pubs.
Regulation or something.
We'll come on to regulation.
Okay.
Business rates.
Yeah, business rates.
Yeah, so I don't know if you remember, but hospitality is one of the sectors where they had a reduced rate during COVID, and that was going to be phased out in January this year, but Rachel Reeves changed her mind and has continued some of the business rates relief. But, that is still a challenge for for pubs. Packaging regulations. So there are new packaging regulations that effectively require the originator of waste. Let's take glass bottles, for example. So the business that makes the drinks in glass bottles and ships it to the pubs, that has to follow back to the original makers now. It's new regulations on packaging. So you can't leave the waste problem with the local authority. The waste problem has to go back to the original producer of the goods. There's a 3-letter acronym for this, which I can't remember off the top of my head, but there are these new regulations on that coming out. A 3-letter acronym I can remember is EPCs. So these are the energy ratings that you probably got one on your washing machine and your house and things like that. There are new requirements on businesses to improve the level of power efficiency, energy efficiency of their buildings. And again, because pubs are often old and maybe sometimes listed buildings, making them subject to the new requirements on EPCs can be quite expensive. Changes in customer habits is another challenge. So you've probably heard this idea of preloading, that quite often people will have a few drinks at home before they go out.
Yeah. I love the preloading. I know it's pre-drinking, but...
Okay,
yeah.
Which means that there's a lower spend per customer when you get to the pub. So lots and lots of challenges facing pubs.
Is that happening more now? Because I almost feel like there is a chance that it might be the other direction. My dad tells me of, when he was young, he'd go to the pub with his mates and they'd share a pint.
Yeah.
And I feel like nowadays people do seem to have more disposable income. They have less opportunity to get on the housing ladder, etc., but they have more ability to buy drinks in pubs. But
the differential between having a drink at home and having a drink in the pub, I think, is wider than
it's
it ever
wider.
has
Okay,
been.
yeah. One thing I've said in the past is that I'm all in favour of putting a tax on alcohol that's sold in the supermarkets and decreasing that which is sold in the pubs, because the pubs is the place you want people to be going and socialising and drinking, instead of buying alcohol at the supermarket and drinking at home.
Agreed. So all those challenges facing pubs, I think there were, since January this year, over 500 pubs have announced their intention to close permanently. So, the kind of decimation of our public houses continues. Last year, one a day closed. So, they are a disappearing part of our high streets and communities. So I know it's really dirty work, but I'm going to encourage everybody to actually spend a bit of time in the pub watching the football.
What's the dirty work? The pub?
Dirty work, spending time in the pub, yeah. But somebody's got to do it,
Oh, so it's dirty work.
Yeah.
I thought you said it's a dirty word. I see, yeah.
Yeah, let's
your country needs you.
Your country needs you.
And watch the football.
Exactly, yeah. And don't necessarily support England. I think there's lots of people who might be supporting other countries down the pub as well. Scotland, for example. Or
horrified.
But yes, please do use this as a really good excuse and rationale to go and support your local hostelry. So I've kept my side of the bargain and made that short.
You have, haven't you? I'm now even more ashamed of myself.
It's okay.
Right, shall we wish England every success?
Yes, we will wish England every success. Yeah. What do you think? Do you think they've got a chance?
Yeah, I think we can win it.
Do you?
Yeah. But I will be saying that until I'm an old man.
Yeah. I think it's about 6-1 at the moment. Odds you can get.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's not very generous odds, I don't think.
I'm an eternal optimist, and I will always believe in England.
Yes, good. Put your money where your mouth is then.
I don't bet.
Great. Okay, well, thanks everybody for listening. Hope you are going to enjoy the World Cup. Oh, I'll tell you what we haven't done. Favourite World Cup song?
Oh, it's easy for me. Three Lions. Yeah, I used to play that every World Cup as a kid.
Original.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, which is now, I remember at the time it was 30 Years of Hurt. Now it's 60 Years of Hurt, isn't it? Which that doesn't quite add up to me. I suppose I'm 30 years old. Yeah, 60 Years of Hurt.
Yeah.
Yours?
World in Motion.
Yeah.
Again, not really any discussion. It's very obvious that that's my favourite. Although I quite like Shakira.
Gosh, Friday knows that we've overrun.
Yeah, exactly. She's telling us to stop.
Remind us.
Yeah. Waka Waka.
This time for Africa.
For Africa. Yeah.
Less patriotic, that one. But.
Yeah. So whatever you're going to listen to, please enjoy the World Cup, and we'll speak to you next week.
Thanks for listening.